create and communicate a solid brand strategy. And this comes from years of mistakes and experimentation, and also from years of learnings from experts who've created and communicated some of the biggest brands in the world. So let me just share my screen with you guys, and then we can start. All right. Just give me a second. All right. So there's 5 key points that I would like to cover in today's session. And I'd like to start with branding and move into consumer psychology, communications, data, and partnerships. Starting with branding. Now, some brands over time have achieved legendary status, which is how we know the products by their simple brand name itself. And examples of this is like, Hoover, Kleenex, or Pampers. And some have grown to a level that just makes them the biggest brands in the world based on brand value, like Apple and Coca-Cola. Branding is one of the most important aspects of any business, be it large, small, retail, B2B. And an effective brand strategy gives you a major edge in increasingly competitive markets. But what does branding exactly mean, and how does it affect a small startup like what you're all hoping to start? Simply put, the brand is a promise to your customer. It tells them what they can expect with your products and how it differentiates your offering from your competitors in the market. Your brand is derived from who you are, who you want to be, and who people perceive you to be. And one of the main starting points of branding is the brand strategy and equity. Your brand strategy is how, what, where, when, and to whom you plan on communicating and delivering on your brand messages. Where you advertise as part of your brand strategy, your distribution channels, how you communicate it visually, verbally, all of that falls under your brand strategy. And consistent strategic branding leads to strong brand equity, which means any added value to your company's products and services that is brought about by branding changes what your brand's all about. Like it differs them from unbranded products, for example. Like, to give you an example, Coca-Cola versus a generic soda, because Coca-Cola has built a powerful brand equity, it can charge more for its products, and customers will pay the higher price. Now, moving on to another example is how, for example, Nike associates itself with star athletes. Nike is not just selling the features of the shoe. They're also trying to transfer the emotional attachment from the athlete to the product. Now, when you come to defining your brand, it's usually it's usually self-discovery. It can be difficult, time-consuming, and mostly uncomfortable, but it does require you to answer the following 4 questions. Number 1, what is your company's mission? Number 2, what are the benefits and features of your product and services? Number 3, what do your customers and prospects already think of your company? And number 4, what qualities do you want them to associate with your company? So once you've done your research, learned the needs and the habits and the desires of your current and prospective customers, you can start building on your brand. And you know what? Don't rely on what you think your consumers know. You need to know what they know. Like, you need to know what they think. Because defining your brand and developing a brand strategy can be complex. And, this is where leveraging enterprises like the FinTech Hive and getting access to mentors over time helps you cover those goals. And once you've defined your brand, how to get the word out. So here I've assigned some tips that will essentially help you get the word out. The first is get a great logo. Like it's all about the logo initially, because that is what represents you. That's what represents your idea. That's what represents everything you're trying to communicate. Means, it's always about being as simple as possible. There's a few different kinds of logos. You have the workplace logos, which is essentially just text that's written, like the Emirates logo or the Coca-Cola logo. And then you have graphic logos, which companies move to over a period of time. Let's take the example of Airbnb, for example. Uh, they started with a logo that looks like Airbnb, but now they've designed a logo, but they still haven't left Airbnb. So over time, they're going to move towards leaving Airbnb until you can completely associate Airbnb with that logo. The second is write down your brand messaging. What are the key messages you want to communicate about your brand? Every employee should be aware of your brand attributes because at the end of the day, they are your biggest ambassador. Next, integrate your brand. Branding extends to every aspect of your business, how you answer the phone, what you or your salespeople wear on sales calls, your email signature, your documentation, your website. Everything needs to be integrated. Next, you need to create a voice for your company that reflects your brand. This voice should be applied to all written communication and incorporated in the visual imagery of all material, online and offline. Is your brand friendly? You need to be conversational, or do you need to be more formal? You get the idea. For creating the voice of the brand, you need to reflect who you are and what you want your consumers to see. Next, develop a tagline. Write a memorable, meaningful, and concise statement that captures the essence of your brand. Next, design templates and create brand standards for your marketing material. Use the same color scheme, logo placement, look and feel throughout. You don't need to be fancy, you just need to be consistent. And then be true to your brand. Customers won't return to you or refer you to somebody else if you don't deliver on your brand promise. And again, what I'd like to focus on, which is very important, is be consistent. If you can't be consistent, everything else that I've talked to you about before, it's all gonna fail. Consistency is the key to branding. The next point that I'd like to focus on is consumer psychology. We hear this a lot, but it's really easy to implement. It's really easy to see the nuances and the aspects that you can use in your business. The modern day consumer differs a lot from those 20 years ago. We're used to online marketing now, and we consider the internet a part of everyday life. However, we're still driven by the same desires, needs, wants. We're still influenced by factors that help us make up our minds. Psychology plays a large part of marketing, even though we may not notice it. So I'd like to look at 6 different points that that you can use to drive consumers to your website, to your app, and you're going to be surprised how easy it actually is. So the first is the novelty aspect. People enjoy the unusual. If you have a niche product, you can appeal to the love of novelty that's within each of us. This is a particularly useful method when we're selling items that people use day to day. And it helps, with marketing to give the product a specific appeal. One major aspect of enhancing novelty and drawing in customers is to market a limited edition. Everyone's been hearing the word that's been coined in recent terms called NFTs. We're going around creating art, putting it online, and people are buying it specifically for the reason that it is limited edition and that nobody is going to be able to have what you have, which was the idea with art before. So combining novelty with exclusivity gives another level, which will drive consumers and give them something special, something personal. And the limited edition can also be brought in terms of offers. Like with startups, it can be the first customers, the first people that you engage with, the first people that you onboard. They get preferential rates, preferential treatments. They get onto, they get onto a board. They get onto a different, first come, first serve basis. Those kind of aspects really help deliver on the novelty aspect. Now, next is the pleasure principle. Now, pleasure is a natural desire for each of us. And when we feel good about a potential purchase, we're more likely to buy and we're more likely to recommend it to someone else. A customer wants to walk away happy with their new item or service. And you need to find ways of assuring them that after buying from you, this is going to enhance their life or their journey, or, even since we're talking about fintech, means, even their finances. Is it cashless? Is it, do you get rebates? All of those things that make a person feel happy at the end are always going to bring them back. The next is the human touch. Always try and tell the reader a story, a human story that relates to the product or service that you're offering. Tell them how it's enhanced someone else's life, how it has the potential of making them happy, how it's made someone else happy. And you need to make it clear to them that they have gained a lot by using your service. And this comes in, like when you're marketing after they've taken your product. When we see someone else satisfied and successful, we relate and we aspire to that. So using your customers, using their recommendations, using, the word that I'm looking for, using the positivity that they put up in recommendations, in, uh, you know what, push the positivities, make them feel real, and they will come back to you and they will recommend you to somebody else. Next, inspire curiosity. It's always said curiosity killed the cat because the cat couldn't stay away. And that's what you need to keep your consumers wanting to come in and find out what's happening. A very successful way of keeping your potential customers interested is to hold something back. Don't give all the information to them at once. So, consumer psychology is about playing with subconscious needs and habits to influence purchasing decisions. And this, again, has a lot to do with inspiring curiosity. From your home or landing page, ensure that there's something that the reader wants to click further for. Find out what's next. See how you can save money. Click on this to avail a limited time offer. Don't give them everything on the front page. Make them work a little bit for it, and that curiosity will drive them to spend more time. And when they do that, you give them the extra information, and that will help you clinch the deal because they've already put in the effort. And this is also a great way of driving consumer engagement. And it also helps with the next point that I'm about to bring up, which is the big build-up. Think about big consumer brands and how they handle a product launch. You'll hear about a new product that's coming a long time before you see it. And one of the most successful ways a product was launched, I think this was about 10, 15 years ago, when Nissan launched one of their hatchbacks called Tida. A new name, you don't know what it means, and they painted the city with the word Tida. No one knew what it meant. No one knew that it was a car. No one knew what it was associated with. But everyone just went around talking and asking everyone, what is Tida? And one of the local brands over here, Salt, for example, they just put up Salt, find Salt. No one knew it was a burger joint till you got to Salt and till they already had a social campaign going on. And this helps in building up the anticipation by enhancing how important the product is going to be. And giving out a little bit of information at a time, it shows how there's going to be an improvement over existing or competing models and why the consumers need it. You need to tell your audience something big is about to happen. Give them the feeling that what you're offering will make a big difference to their lives. This is how the big corporations whip up a frenzy. It's, you witness the queues outside to buy the Adidas Yeezy boots. Like Apple products, this is a norm. When a new Apple product comes out, there's camps outside their stores, and people need to be eager to get their hands on first. What we spoke about first, the novelty aspect, that is what the big build up can also lead to. You need to make them eager to get their hands on, and special edition, limited edition, those words help you a lot with selling what they are going to desire. And the main way you do this is with your marketing. And consumer psychology brings back something that you don't see a lot of nowadays. is the word of mouth. And with the big build up, with inspiring curiosity, with the pleasure principle, with novelty, you're going to see a lot of word of mouth, people talking about something that's coming up. Now, the last point in consumer psychology is the social proof. In the days before the internet, which I think is before my time, a new shop or a service or a product would gain momentum not just by traditional advertising, but by having satisfied customers passing on how satisfied they were with the service or the product. And this was a wonder to others. They would be like, okay, I want the same thing. And now the way we use this is by endorsements, by popular celebrities, by their friends, by your employees as ambassadors. And it's even more powerful now that we have online marketing, as consumers always look for social proof. And social proof is in reviews, is in magazines, is in the printed word. And what they're essentially looking for is proof that the product they're considering has standing in the social media world. This is what has given a rise to a new breed of influencers. Everyone is an influencer now. And, with careful planning and sensible online communication, you can create social proof for your products. Now, the third, and what I am spending most of my time doing, is communications. How are big brands created? Let's talk about this for a second. The journey from being an organization to a brand name to being a household name that resonates with its customers is not an easy thing to do. Like, brands are not made overnight. It is your customers who hold the power to turn your product or your service into something that is, household, a hot selling brand. And the key for this is communication. If the brand communication is clear and it hits the audience in the right places, you've got an absolutely smashing brand that's going to come out on top of all your competitors. With social media as a powerful communication tool, every business has the means to directly communicate with its end user. Imagine the power to not just reward a loyal customer instantly, but also handle and retain an angry customer with tact and ingenuity at the very moment when the user shares a bad experience. I've experienced this myself, like with local telecom companies over here. They wouldn't come to you and you keep on calling them on the phone, but you put one instance of it on social media, like try it on Twitter, put it in. I've been waiting for the service to come to my house for the past 3 days. They respond immediately. And because they are looking at social media, they're looking at what the consumers are saying. And when you call them, it's a one-on-one conversation, but when you put it on social media, it becomes a conversation with the millions that are looking at the brand online. And what I'd like to discuss in communications is how you can build a resilient brand communication strategy and win your customers' approval every single time. Even when you mess up, when you've built a strong relationship with your customers based on trust, your customers are going to become your loyal brand evangelists. They're going to support what your brand is doing. Every time Apple comes out with a phone, you have a lot of trouble that your brand goes through, that your phone goes through, but you still have people that stand by the Apple product. And you know what? The next update's going to come and they're going to fix it. They have that kind of faith. They have that kind of loyalty to the product that even when something goes wrong, they stand by it. And that's what you need for your product. And let's go a little bit into details of how you find your brand voice. And to find the right brand voice for your product, you need to identify first. You need to identify your buyer personas. Learn and research your core customer groups. It's the best way to get started when you're looking for the right voice for your brand. The ideal way to know if you're touching the right chords with your customer is to know what kind of customer you're catering to. You need to know your USPs. Once you figure out who you're talking to, it's time to understand what you're going to talk about. What is your unique selling proposition? What is the USP of your product and how it's going to make it stand out from the others? How is your brand giving value to the customers? And then you build a brand personality. Given your USPs and your given the brand personality and your USPs, you want to showcase all of these to your customer. Ensure that your brand personality remains consistent throughout all your channels. Consistency is something that I'm talking about in each and every one of these, divisions of marketing. And this is, if you take away anything, take away consistency. And it's going to help you in a lot of ways. Now, okay, going back to brand personality, you need to have consistency throughout everything, and this will help you identify your consumers and connect with them in a better way. And at the end of it, choose your marketing mix. With every business going digital, each and every business now, it's best to recognize the most high paying and valuable channels for your branding exercises. Choose media that suits you best and is preferred with your target audience. Whether it's social media, email marketing, or events or presentations, make sure everything has the same brand voice. And to create a winning brand communication strategy, you know, these are the 7 points that I would put up in front of you to deliver. First is be genuine and honest. You don't need, brand ambassadors promoting your products in front of customers to become brand advocates. If someone else is talking about your product, they need to be spreading positive vibes about your product. Word of mouth is what is going to help you in the long run. And being genuine and honest is, they're the most authentic agents for your brand promotion. Therefore, it is what you need. Let me put it this way: it is your prerogative to ensure that all brand communications from your end are also genuine and spontaneous. Don't use automated replies or a bot. A humanized and empathetic and authentic brand voice is what helps you build an immediate connection with the audience. It helps you build trust. Like, whenever you look at a bot on a chat or when you're looking at a website, as soon as you know it's a bot, you lose engagement yourself. And if you know it's a human person, you know that, okay, when they do get time and if they are talking to me right now, they're going to move on and help me out in however they can. You need to tackle this with a humane touch always. Next is create conversations. When a customer shares a positive experience, go further than just saying thank you. Give open-ended responses and strike conversations that are going to help your brand find its humanized voice. People love it when a brand takes time to have a conversation with them, a one-on-one conversation, not a conversation with the millions. I know this is difficult to do when you don't have the workforce, but trust me, every one-on-one conversation you have with a customer is going to lead to someone that is engaged, will use word of mouth and have loyalty with your brand. Even if it is a fun conversation, people will remember your brand more for how you made them feel personally. When you reach the stature of having natural, real-time, and positive conversations with your customers, soon they're the ones that are going to be doing the marketing for you, which again is what every brand should strive for. Next, provide relevant content. In the words of some of the biggest names in marketing, content is still king. Creating content that appeals to the target audience and is yet relevant to your brand needs a bit of skill and practice, but it isn't rocket science. It's a wise and smart choice to always ask your audience to share, comment, vote, or suggest what they wish to see more of. Getting their feedback and creating content is going to help them be more engaged. When you listen to them and they see what you're doing, they will listen to you. And in this way, when you make the customers co-creators of your content, you have customers for life. Next, don't always self-promote. This is what most brands usually make mistakes in when they keep on going about how great my brand is. People don't like brands that gloat about themselves. Even in the real world, you can't spend time with people that only talk about themselves. Similarly, brands that openly or overtly promote themselves without offering any value to the client are often at the risk of losing customers. And that too without any apparent reason. It's just we don't like people that talk about themselves a lot, and we don't like brands that talk about themselves a lot. You need to bring that human element in. Next, be, be transparent. Being open and transparent and letting your customers in on what's going on behind the scenes helps you gain even more trust. Transparency is always the key to trust. The practice not only helps the brand and the organization educate customers, but also helps you dispel rumors and improve your brand awareness, all the while attaining a special, respectful place in the consumer's minds because they know you're being honest. And again, for communications, another important aspect is to leverage consumer generated content. I did speak about this a little bit before, but paying attention to what your consumers are saying, your customers are saying, is going to help. Look at forums, look at comments on your brand on social media. And when you know what they want, act quickly and give them what they want. Leveraging user generated content is not that hard. As customers continue to take, co-ownership and influence their favorite brands, companies, organizations should work on improving their product offering based on that. Simply share a customer's content, tweak your services, product, your communication to give your audience exactly what they want. Within the digital age, the focus now is to market your product to the consumer. And for that, these are the tips that I would like you to focus on when you're looking at communication. Now, moving on to the next topic that I'd like to talk about under communications is two theories that I've recently come across, and these should be the basic principles of when you're trying to communicate to a customer. First is Occam's razor. Now, Occam, he was a priest in mid 15th century, and he came up with a theory that the simple answer is correct, which essentially means when you have two ideas, the one with the least amount of assumptions is the one that you're going to go for. And that's what you need to concentrate on in your communication. It needs to be as crystal clear as possible so that your consumers don't have to make any assumptions. If you're selling water, you tell them this is water. It's when you go into a lot more detail, that's when consumers get lost and you won't be able to get your communication through. So the basis of Occam's razor is make your customers make the least amount of assumptions about your messaging and about your brand. And you would have done your communication successfully. The next idea in communications that should help you a lot in your messaging is the path of least resistance. All right, do not overcomplicate. You need to provide a service that, so let's look at what the path of least resistance is. As you can see in the picture, you have a pathway that's been built by the municipality that you're supposed to walk on. And then you have this pathway through the grass, which again translates to point A to B. The shortest form is a line, which people walking in the grass have done. Now that is what consumers, customers, and what people trying to buy your product and service are always going to do. This is what you need to communicate. Your product needs to be the path of least resistance. You need to help them get the product sooner. You need to help them save money. You've made it cashless. You need to show how your product is helping them achieve the path of least resistance and not go over a longer path. You're making the journey from A to B for them the easiest. Now, number 4 in my agenda is data. I've been working quite a lot at Property Finder with data, but the data that I'm working on is property data, it's real estate data. But now what I want to talk about is data in marketing. So data-driven marketing essentially provides concrete insights into how well or not your marketing activities are working. And some of, a few of the reasons that I'd like to give you are are as follows. When we're looking at data reaching the right customers, and the way it helps marketeers is it helps you find the right customers. Not only customers you will convert and buy from you, but those that are going to be loyal, repeat customers, and brand ambassadors to their friends and family. There's a lot of information that we can learn from each and every person that visits our website or store or product. And it helps you find the ideal customer. Data-driven marketing helps you see what works and what doesn't. And going through some of the benefits of data-driven marketing, the first is it helps you create personalized and highly targeted campaigns. Data-driven marketing can help you create unique personalized messages for each customer. Data will give you insight into each of your customers, including their interests, their lifestyle, their online activity. And with this information, you can create content that resonates with them and attracts them to your business. Data can guide your content marketing strategy, as well as letting you know where and when to post ads and what kind of material gets you the best kind of results. An example of this is what we've done at Property Finder. The growth team at Property Finder has over, I'd say the past year, created several different kinds of content, in the hundreds. And they've put this up on their social media platforms and as YouTube ads and on Facebook. And they've targeted different kinds of people. They've targeted different age groups, different nationalities. And with all the data, so let's say they started with 100. The most successful ones, the top 50, they put a little bit more money behind. And then from the top 50, the top 10 got even more money. And then out of the top 10, the top 2, they put all their efforts behind because they knew it was working. So A/B testing and experimenting can help you personalize the message. It can help you cover a huge variety of content and find out specifically what works with your targeted consumers. What it also helps with is more consistent messaging. Data, you can use it across a lot of communication channels. And when you leverage data, you can extend your reach across lots of channels of communication. And consumer insights ensure that your messaging remains consistent and aligned. And you can know what's working and what's not. The data can help you identify specific content and leads that are driving into your sales funnel. This helps you determine exactly where your time and budget should be spent, where it was not spent properly, and where it was spent properly. What it also does, it helps you segment your audience. As a marketeer, one of the main things is you cannot use the same messaging and the same marketing tactics for every prospective customer. There's different stages in a buyer's journey, and each of them require specific marketing messages. You can't send, the message of, oh, come buy our product to someone that's already bought it. You can't ask someone to come to an event that's happening in Damak Hills if they live in a Mulcoin. So you need to take all of those into, all the data that you have into consideration to create specific marketing messages and collateral that's going to help that move forward. Segmenting your prospective customers according to their behavior, their habits, their demographics. I couldn't hear what you said. Sorry. Is going to help you organize the segmentation. And it's also going to help you tailor your marketing efforts. What this also does, it also helps you know your customers beforehand. Data-driven marketing can help you know your customers before they even buy anything from you. Data, it can alert you beforehand what their interests are, what their preferences are, so you can target them with the perfect messaging. And this messaging is going to help you get their attention and to persuade them to do business with you. What this also helps with is creating a buzz. Come out with a revolutionary new product and it will create a buzz. And the data is going to help you target the people that are going to want to hear about this. It also helps with your product development. It can let you know the needs, the pain points, the desires of your audience before you launch. And when you tailor the values and the features of your product to match your consumers, you have more success. Now, you can also have more personalized marketing when you're using data. You know, it helps with the product being relevant and the timeliness that it goes out with. The whole, pray and spray, send it out to everyone and we'll see who bites. It doesn't work anymore because the consumer base is increased and it costs a lot more money to send that kind of messaging out. With the right customers at the right time, with the right messaging, you'll be successful in making them paying customers. And once you know your ideal customer, you can tailor the messages and tactics for them. And when they see a messaging that is tailored to them, when I have a messaging that's talking to me, I'm more likely to click go ahead and find out more about it. And if you can nail this formula, it's something that is going to drive your business very quickly and help you reach your monetary goals a lot faster. What data also does is it helps you provide a better experience to your customers. If you have the content, if you know what your customers are going through, you can help build the messaging. You can help return back to them. Most ads go straight into the trash. People don't want ads to trouble them if they're, not relevant, if they're not interesting. But data can give you a huge amount of content on what you need to do. And again, this content comes from satisfaction surveys with focus groups. It's going to help you create and tailor a message that people will find hard to ignore. And something that all businesses need is increasing opportunities for cross-selling and upselling. And database marketing gives you these insights and helps you move prospective customers through the sales funnel quicker and in a more cost-effective way. Additionally, what data can help you see is untapped opportunities for cross-selling and the sales funnel that you may not have noticed before. If you're selling, let's just look at a jeweler's example. You're selling women's jewelry. And if you have data that said, that you have the 14th of Feb coming up, you have Valentine's Day, you have someone's birthday coming up, you can send them messages on those days. You can send them content on those days. You can tailor your content to those days. It's really funny when I get a birthday message from Apple or a reminder of someone's birthday message on my phone, and the next message I see is from Apple. Tailoring those, it's going to help you cross-sell. It's going to help you upsell when you know a product's gone old. It's going to help all the information you have about the consumer is going to help you sell more to them over time. All right, now the next thing that I've worked on also, and what's going to help small businesses thrive in today's community is partnerships. And partnerships, there's several kinds of partnerships that you can get into, but let's talk about this as specific partnership marketing. It's with further in further advancements in marketing and in communication and in competitors, we need to find ways in which your businesses can thrive. And this is through collaborations and sharing resources that benefit both parties, a synergy, if you may. And you need to be ready for partnership marketing. I know it's my product. I like to see how it goes out and I can survive on my own. But you being part of the DIFC FinTech Hive is a partnership. A partnership is not necessarily always monetary and putting products together. There's different kinds of partnerships that we're going to go through. A partnership in its essence is a mutually beneficial collaboration between two businesses to create, a messaging of sorts, or to create a synergy. And there's 10 different kinds of partnership marketings that you can look at over time. And maybe they help your business, maybe they don't, but give them consideration. The first is loyalty. Loyalty partnership, leverages the use of rewards through, you know, through partner apps, through websites, through other methods. Essentially, what it does is it provides a reward to your consumers for taking a desired action. For example, a consumer might sign up for emails, purchase a product, or accept a free trial. And a couple of kinds of loyalty partnership is advocacy. It's what influencers are doing, and influencers not the ones that you're paying. It's people that choose to promote and support your product because it is a good product. And the reward for them doing so, if it is an influencer, you can give them partner brand discounts, and if it's not, you can give them access to discounts because they have been a loyal brand advocate to your services. This type of loyalty with partners or with consumers is going to help you resonate with consumers on a lower level, not on a business or a professional level. And this kind of loyalty, which is again a kind of partnership, helps you gain more in the long run than in the short run. Next, a partnership is influencer marketing. You might not have the most amount of money, but look at the people that are sitting around you in your office. They're influencers of some sort. They influence decisions made by their friends and family over a huge amount of time. I would trust what my sister or what my father's telling me more than what a brand tells me. Like if someone tells me this is a good product and they're happy with it, I am more inclined to go and use it. And now let's look at influencers as the paid option. People that follow those influencers appreciate their lifestyle and want to buy products that those individuals recommend. And when a brand partners with those influencers to use the service, they relate to the influencer and the service that's providing. There's no point getting Justin Bieber to advertise a financial product. But if there is someone that does work in the financial industry and does have a huge following, those might be the right people for you. So even with influencers, you need to be careful in who you select, what you select, and what kind of messaging their consumers are used to and are expecting. Next, affiliation. Like your affiliation with the FinTech Hive is going to help you in bounds. My affiliation with them is helping me in bounds. And creating marketing strategies, they promote you, other affiliate organizations that you can be a part of. It's mutually beneficial to them because for them, if you do succeed, they get to be the ones that helped you in your success. And you can also have affiliate marketing in terms of content, taking advantage of banner ads, social media, newsletters, partnering with other firms that have a bigger reach. One thing that we tried to do at Property Finder was we have a reach of, let's say, for example, 5 million people. And a magazine, an online magazine for the likes of Time Out or What's On, they have a 5 million reach. When we talk to them of sharing content, our reach now becomes 10 million, so does theirs. And the only thing we had to do was share content. Another kind of partnership is a charitable partnership, in which a brand endorses a charity. A certain amount of money from your organizations every year goes to charity, and this could be in the form of organizations, in exhibitions, sponsorships, award shows, public events, stories that you put in, someone you're supporting. It doesn't always have to be a huge amount of money. A charity from your side could be, helping someone out, delivering free meals, cleaning up the beach. Next, another kind of partnership is sponsorships. All right, and this is sponsoring the right events, sponsoring the right kind of content, sponsoring the right kind of speeches at exhibitions or conferences. And the main thing that sponsorships help with is, number one, awareness. And most often sponsorships involve aligning your product with an event in order to gain mass exposure. And the goal of this objective is to expand the reach of your brand to new and existing customers. The second point is association. When you link your product with a cause, it helps quite a lot to take it further in your chances of being associated with that person over a long period of time. Now, Other than sponsorship, we can look at distribution, where it provides a value to you and to the partner that you're working with. They can help distribute your product. You can help distribute their product. They can have your product on their website, and you can have their product on your website. A simple example of this is the cards, the air miles that you have that you get from your business card. Now, the companies that are offering services on, let's say, an Emirates NBD card have partnered with them in the distribution of their points. And that, for small organizations, is pretty big to, have a big bank like that helping you get exposure through distribution. Next, product placement. And now, I don't have to explain this. Product placement in the right place. Just look at Audi in the Iron Man movies and look at how products are being placed instead of ads coming into all the Netflix shows that come out. Product placement can be on channels. It could be in a business. It could be, on a partner's website. It could be your consumers putting it up in times of, when you're putting up an offer. Use this and I get a discount. It's the right product placement. Helps a lot with getting your brand out. Next, content partnership. Again, this is the example that I gave you about our organization with someone else's. Partner up content. Do content. A makeup brand does content with a car. A car company does content with a charity or with someone that's promoting Ramadan. There's a lot of ways that you can put these partnerships together. Co-creation, link sharing. With your consumers, with the ambassadors in your company, your employees. And then you can have joint products that go out. Caterpillar, for example, this is one of the best examples I've seen in a while. Caterpillar partnered with an Android mobile producing company, and they created a phone that has 100 hours of battery and is virtually indestructible. This puts out two things. One, for the phone company, they're going to have a lot of business with using phones in high risk or, in construction areas. And then you have Caterpillar that builds high sturdy equipment in construction material, in construction sites, that helps you create a product that, both of them put together are launching out into the market. And now with services, like you have services, you can offer these joint services with banks, with insurance companies, with property companies, with credit cards. There's a lot of, when you do joint products, it helps you because you leverage the extent of your partner's audience. And the last one is licensing. You licensing your product, as like white labeling it and putting it out into the market for someone else to pick up and use. So for me, these are the top 5 points that I've practiced over time and have helped me with branding, with communications, using data, and using consumer psychology to build, the brands that I've worked with over time. And now I'd like to open this up to questions.
Thank you, Faisal. I can see there's already been a question in the chat box. Let's see. Okay, let me read it out to you, Faisal. Can inbound marketing also be implemented by startups, or do they need to be somewhat established before even launching and later experiencing gains from it? Please.
For me, inbound marketing, but you can always start it up. But one of the issues that startups have is you might not be ready for the volume that you're looking at attracting. So both of these need to go hand in hand. You need to be able to take in the lead and to help the leads, or to be able to provide the product and the service to the leads that come in. Because there's nothing worse than getting a lot of leads coming in, not servicing them, and that's going to impact your brand over time. So only try and bring in as much as you can handle. When you do scale up, which again is in the future, or then I'd say pay more attention or put more money behind that.
Okay, Fred, I hope that answered your question. If not, feel free to raise your hand and we'll give you the permission to speak. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, so I can see a question in the Q&A box. It says online marketing is important or offline? Okay, so basically, is online marketing or offline marketing more important in real estate?
In real estate, you know, we're spending a lot of time in our houses now. We're spending a lot of time indoors, but real estate is, you know, it's a tough one when you're looking at the industry, because real estate is a physical asset that can shine for itself in both online and offline. And offline in the country that you're in helps quite a lot if you're looking at advertising locally. But when you're looking at attracting investors from all around, means online marketing is the only way. And no, but not necessarily as well, because you do have a lot of billboards going up across the world from projects from Emaar and Damak. But I think it needs to go hand in hand. And I would pay more attention to online because, you know, even when we're driving, we're paying more attention to our phone and the marketing that's going on our TV, on websites, on, you know, any sort of platform. We spend a lot more time online than we do offline. So the more time we spend online, the more time you should spend advertising online than offline. And that would be my answer.
All right, Faisal, I can see another question has come in. Is it best to react to negative marketing or ignore it?
This, again, it depends on the kind. This is going into, you know, crisis management when conversations come in, and there's been a lot of those over the last year where you do get a lot of negative marketing. It's if you do have, look, so I'll break this down into two parts. The first is if the information is wrong that's being put out and you have the right answer for it, I would say you need to go out and answer it before people get the wrong idea about it. But if it is just, you know, if it's just someone coming out and talking negative about the product, the bigger you get, the more haters you're going to get in the market. You can't tackle each of them. Major issues that impact your brand, major issues that impact your, you know, your sales funnel, those are the ones that need to be addressed. Everything else is just noise. Anything that impacts your brand integrity, anything that impacts your brand values, and anything that makes you look bad in public, not represent what you are actually, those are the ones that shouldn't be ignored.
I agree with you completely. There's been another question. How can a startup stop talking about their brand and not self-boast? What is another approach that a startup can follow to showcase their features?
Well, look, if you're going, so there's a difference. Boasting is on something that you've already done. When you've created a product, someone liked it, and that's all you talk about. It's, you know, there's a fine line between talking about a good product and boasting. And look, there's a lot of ways that you can go out. You don't need to go and always praise yourself. And it's communication at the end. You talk about what your product offers and not the results from it. Let people talk about the results. And you share what the people talking about your products are saying. Never congratulate yourself. Never talk about yourself. Let the market talk about you. Offer the service to your customers. Use their reviews. Use what they're saying in your messaging. You know, when I say, for example, that the FinTech Hive chose me as a mentor, right? I don't need to say like, oh, I'm really great at what I'm doing. That's why they chose me. The fact that FinTech Hive chose me is enough of an endorsement that what I've been doing has been good enough. So using other channels than direct channels to applaud yourself or to put out a good word about yourself is the best way for a startup. Again, use your consumers, like make them your friends. They're the ones
to add to what you're saying, I always feel like if you show the audience how good your product is, and then that would increase your word of mouth, that's a good way to get the word out about your product and how good it is.
But let the consumers speak how good your product is.
Completely agree. All right, last question for the day, I think. Digital marketing of products, especially e-commerce, would replace small shopkeepers in an Asian market.
In a what market?
Asian market.
In an Asian market?
I think this is just a general thought rather than a question.
Okay. I don't agree with it though, but yeah. Because small shops are always going to be there. Like now, when everything has become so abundantly available online, you're still looking for that personal touch. And personal touches can only be delivered by individuals, by smaller businesses, by smaller shops, by artisan, if you want to call it. And that's what people are looking for now. They're looking at something that is special in a market that is, flooded with products.